Hello and welcome to Samvat 2082 here on NDTV Profit. I'm Vikram Oza and the festivities are on in full swing. Great wishes from all of us here on NDTV Profit. Yes, India is on a shopping spree this Diwali. Numbers are dazzling to say the least. Festival trade, we've seen it cross a record 5 lakh crore rupees with 1 lakh crores that has already been spent on Dhanteras alone. And that includes a glittering 60,000 crore rupees spent in gold and silver sales. And that makes it a 25% jump overall. It's a 25% jump from what we've seen only last year. And it's not just metros that are driving the sales boom this time. There are smaller cities that are stealing the show. And they account for nearly 3/4 of all the e-commerce orders this festive season. And look at the Tier 3 towns and how they're contributing. Alone, the Tier 3 towns, they're making up over half of the total online volumes when it comes to sales. So with fashion, electronics, all those orders surging, average order values are also going up 32% this time year on year. And look at what's happening in the automotive sector. It's shifting gears and moving into top gear. Maruti Suzuki has booked 14,000 cars a day. Tata Motors, Hyundai, even Mercedes-Benz, they're all hitting all-time highs this Diwali. Consumer surveys are pegging the total festive spends well over 2 lakh crore rupees, which takes it up 18% from what we've seen last year. Now, when you ask the government, they're saying it's the GST cuts that have helped sustain this buying momentum. And Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is calling it proof of a continuing consumption story. While the Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav is expecting more than 10% growth in private consumption this year itself. So this evening, the big question we're asking, is this a festive spike or a genuine consumption revival that could lift India's growth story in 2026? And we have a great panel to discuss this with. But before we go to them, let's get you this ground report. My colleague Danish Anand has been into the sparkling markets in Delhi just to get a sense of the festive spends this year and the kind of surge that we're seeing over there. All the glittering markets in Delhi, including Chandni Chowk, here's how it's looking.
Well, festive cheer is booming sales for the Indian industry, especially for those companies that are linked to consumer-centric goods, may it be the auto companies or white good companies or consumer electronic companies. All of such sectors are seeing booming sales, especially after the GST cut, which coincided with the first day of Navratri, that is on 22nd September. Since then, we have seen record sales as far as sales of mobile phones are concerned. These companies are seeing a 50% jump in demand. As far as auto companies are concerned, even auto companies are seeing a strong sale. And as you can see behind me, festivities continue everywhere and everyone is in a festive mood. If we look at the entire scheme of things, India's total consumption is pegged at 202 lakh crores this year, and out of that, 10% of that, which is 20 lakh crore, is expected from the GST cut this year. And talking about the other industries, if we talk about Confederation of All India Traders, which is Kate expects over 5 lakh crore sales this time for the normal traders. So all in all, if we see, India's economy has got a booster dose after the GST cut. But wait, there's a catch, as not only the industry but even the government expects this dream run to continue, as the GST cut is a big thing, as it has started and has given a boost to the normal consumer in order to purchase more things which they were not earlier to purchase, all thanks to the GST cut.
So yes, a lot of it is being put down to GST cuts, but can we sustain this kind of consumption level beyond the festive season or not? That's an essential question to ask. Our panel is joining us, and we did mention the Confederation of All India Traders. From that body, and also the Member of Parliament from Chandni Chowk, we have Praveen Khandelwal joining us, including him. We have a great panel. There is the CEO of Fort Point, Ashish Shukla, is with us as well. Great to have you, and greetings of the season. Economist Mithali Nikore, founder of Nikore Associates, here with us as well, sparkling as ever. Thanks for joining us this evening, Mithali. And market expert Ajay Bagga here with us as well. Ajay, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks for making the time. Gentlemen, Mithali, great to have you all with us. Praveenji, I want to begin by asking you, what's really driving sales this time around? This Diwali rise that we are seeing, the surge that we are seeing, is this because people are actually thinking they can afford to spend this kind of money? Or is it just this Diwali which is different from many others that we've seen in the past? What's driving it?
Well, first of all, happy Diwali to you and to your viewers as well. The fact of the matter is that just on the corner of the festive season, which is perhaps the biggest festive season in the country, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given a massive rate cut in GST. Therefore, what we have seen in the market is a decline of 15 to 20% of the prices from the original price because of GST rate cut. Coupled with the call of Prime Minister Narendra Modi for Swadeshi goods to buy and purchase. That is why we have seen a large number of unprecedented gathering of people in Delhi markets and across country. So the basic the fundamental question is that the GST rate cut has increased the purchasing power of the consumer, and now consumer is more willing to go to market to have a touch and feel,
There
which he
is
was earlier doing so.
So consumer
So that
confidence has gone up, you're saying. Now that we have the
absolute.
GST reforms, consumer confidence is going up. Ashish Shukla, we've heard about all the footfalls in many of the dealerships. You tell us on ground how much of these footfalls are really translating into sales. How is this Diwali different for you compared to others in the past?
See, if we see ki this time the footfalls which has been happened is very much, conversion ratio is very high. If we see the walking conversion and all, the average walking conversion is around 25 to 30%, but this time almost 35% is there. If we see, there is basically two reasons. One is the GST, and the second most important thing is that when even the OEMs had cut down their prices, so that both the things plays a very vital role in the festive spike. And especially if we see the estimated 1 lakh crore trade on Dhanteras represents a temporary festive spike, but the broader economy recovery, changing consumer behavior and pent up demand suggests that this could be a part of a sustained consumption revival in India, provided key microeconomic factors remain favorable.
That's an important one, and that is always going to be a question, whether or not this kind of microeconomics actually helps in sustaining this kind of consumption drive. Mithali, what do you think? This purchasing power, the spurt that we are seeing in sales, do you think it's sustainable, and what's pushing it through? Do you think it could be a festive spike and that we could see it petering down, or do you think it will sustain beyond this?
First of all, thanks a lot, Vikram, for having me on your NDTV show. And so happy to be joining you on Diwali, and a very happy Diwali to you, to all the panelists, and to all the viewers of NDTV Profit.
Thank
so,
you.
so now coming to the point, I think very clearly what we are seeing is 3 or 4 effects playing out at the same time. The first thing is that the government very expertly provided the GST tax relief in a manner which was well timed and also well advertised. Now, why does that matter? Is because, of course, the timing, the fact that it came in just before the Diwali festive buying was setting in was, of course, the perfect timing, because there was going to be pent up demand anyway. But the second thing was that the way it was announced and branded as a GST Bachat Utsav, that sort of prompted the retailers to also use that marketing pitch in their own campaigns and show to the consumers that they were actually providing that entire GST reduction to the consumer, thereby boosting the consumer confidence even further. So that has resulted in the numbers that we can see today. In fact, I'll quote Sir's study itself, CAIT's study, which says that just in the Diwali season alone, the total buying can reach up to 5 lakh crores, just in this 1-2 week period. What I'll also add to that is that, yes, of course, there's a festive spike, but there's also a very, clear quarterly, sort of strength of India. That is the October to December quarter Q3 is always strong in India, not only because of Diwali, but because of the wedding season, and also because of the successive festivals that happen at this time of the year around the country, in the south, in the east. We've also seen Durga Puja be a very strong, festive spike coming in from Eastern India already. And, this is going to sustain, in my view, into the whole of Q3, where again CAIT is projecting about a 12 lakh crore consumption in this entire quarter. My suggestions is also very similar. I do think that this quarter itself can drive almost 45 to 50% of India's growth of FY26. And I think we are going to see a very strong consumption-led quarter.
Ajay, are you convinced about this from everything that you're hearing so far from your co-panelists and, of course, the buzz that you're picking up as well? How strong do you think Q3 can be? Because earnings growth has been muted. Several questions have been raised because of the way the equity markets have performed vis-a-vis other asset classes as well. But here in gold and silver, we are seeing that spurt. How much of that is going to give an impetus to the markets? Because the markets in general love this narrative of a consumption comeback. But tell us how much of it is driven by emotion and sentiment, and how much does the market see as pure economics at play that is going to sustain?
Yeah, I think it's going to sustain. The short answer is yes. The government gave an income tax cut. RBI gave a 1% tax cut. If you look at the RBI MPC minutes for the last time, Vikram, they had space, but they have held back their ammunition. Inflation is down. Monsoon has been great. The agriculture economy is doing very well. Rural wages are up. The rural safety net rolled out by the government has really meant that there is a lot of protection at the lower segment level. So you had an income tax cut, RBI rate cut of 100 basis points, which is coming through. Imagine the saving on the entire consumer loans basket, how that puts more money into the consumer's pocket. And then you give a consumption tax cut vis-a-vis the GST cut. This is structural, Vikram. It's not a one-time thing. It's structural. It's putting about 15,000-20,000 crores every quarter into the Indian consumers' pockets. That's the kind of bold move that has been made. Will it sustain? Right now, I think there is a demand pull forward that has happened. So a lot of people saw the fall in prices, saw the affordability factor. They went in for more shopping. Second is a premiumization that's happening. So there is a huge segment which every year moves up from middle class to upper middle class, from upper middle to more affluent. So that premiumization is working out. On top of that, you had all these cuts coming in, which increased affordability. So overall, it's made a structural story. So I think, and success becomes the father of more success, as you saw in the press meet by the Honorable FM and Piyush Goyal and Ashwini Vaishnav.
Yes.
Government looking at it very closely, Vikram. They'll be very pleasantly surprised by the GST collections because there is a Laffer's curve that works. In the economy. The more you cut the tax, actually you get more compliance, you get more consumption, and your tax revenues go up. So as the government sees that, I expect that February could be even more big bang. So I would say yes, and I would say structural, and I would say it's a comprehensive move, culmination of a lot of comprehensive measures.
So then if it is a structural move, Ajay, and that's an important one to consider, and Praveenji, perhaps you can highlight this, because yes, we are talking about 5 lakh crore rupees kind of turnovers for traders this Diwali season. But tell me how much that translates into extended profitability, Praveenji, thanks to this kind of surge that we are seeing.
Well, first of all, I would like to let you know that this is not an overnight exercise. Soon after the new government took the reins, from that point, we all were discussing the things what best we can give to the people of the country. So therefore, the first bonanza was in income tax, and it is a series of events. So therefore, it is certainly going to sustain, because as I was just listening Mitali, she was quite right that soon after this Diwali season is over, from 1st of November to 14th of December, we have first spell of wedding season. And then we have New Year, and then from 14 January to to March and April, and then there is a break, and then to July and August, we have another wedding seasons. So therefore, the reduction of prices
Yes.
is promoting consumer to buy more. So therefore,
Yes.
in terms the production will be more. So it is going to be sustainable.
So, but I'm just trying to understand the kind of surge that we are seeing, how much of that is actually going to turn into profitability? How much of it is being driven by discounts? Because yes, GST has given its own, treasure trove of discounts to that extent, but when it comes to competitiveness, you have to be able to attract that much more consumers. So to that extent, are margins getting squeezed? How much of profitability will we actually see come through? And is it restricted to some sectors that seem to be doing better than others, at least in this season?
Vikram, the point is that the reduction of taxes in GST has increased the capital liquidity with the trading community, and as now they are able to purchase more. So therefore, it is not a question of profitability. It is a question of turnover. And whenever there is a great turnover, of course, it is followed by the profitability. So in terms of profitability, there is no doubt that traders will earn more. And in terms, the consumer will be happy. And that is the motto of Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi.
Ajay, are you convinced that it need not kind of immediately show in profitability? It might take time for that to happen if turnover is high. Is that enough for the markets to be happy with the way the festive season turns out and into the wedding season as well?
Yeah, 48 lakh weddings coming up in the next 45 days, 1st November to December 14th. That's the estimate.
Yeah.
So these kind of numbers are just subcontinental numbers, Vikram. You can't really, be against these numbers. 30% of the domestic consumption happens in these 3 months, October to December. So we are set for a good consumption. Does that translate into good markets?
Yeah.
I think 13 months we have underperformed. We have not met the September 2024 all-time high for the last 13 months. So time-wise, we have paid our price. Price-wise, we have been just sideways, and we have underperformed vis-a-vis both developed markets and emerging markets. Two things will set these markets on fire. One will be as earnings downgrades bottom out. I think that has happened with the September quarter. Another 15, 20 days, we will have most of the earnings in. But the first earnings normally are very optimistic, so we don't discount them fully. We are waiting for the next 20 days. But I think it's happened. The earnings downgrade cycle has bottomed out. Second is the rupee stability. So the rupee going down nearly 4%, and then the RBI stepping in last week with a $15 billion bazooka to protect the rupee, and it caught the rupee shorting speculators on the wrong foot. That sent out a very strong message that 90 rupees is being protected very strongly by the RBI. That gives confidence to the FPI. So these are the two indicators we will look for: stable rupee and earnings stabilizing, and then earning guidance as it comes in. Before the earnings revival, the market will revive, Vikram.
So, Mithali, you will need interest rates to move in tandem as well. How much of this growth that we are talking about need to be powered by real savings, by discounts, by moves by the RBI as well? And perhaps we will see US interest rates come down as well. All of that could have a compounding effect, if you like to call it that. Do you see that happening? Because this consumption growth needle, if it has to move, several other pieces will need to move in tandem, don't you think?
Absolutely, Vikram. So I think, when we are thinking about a longer term picture, let's say even a picture of 1 year to 2 years, what is the one ingredient that we need for this growth to sustain? And that is infrastructure investment. The reason why I'm saying this is just look at the pictures of our cities today. What is the one thing that stands out? The government is doing a lot when it comes to fiscal policy, but the government is also doing a lot when it comes to infrastructure investment. But the issue is that our cities still need a massive infrastructure facelift and uplift. We have to be able to get rid of the traffic jams. We have to be able to get rid of, issues with urban logistics. We have to be able to create, urban centers where 15 minutes of rain does not mean log jams of hours, right? So
you're
these
saying,
are very important bottlenecks.
so you're saying infrastructure bottlenecks need to be fixed if we have to see the consumption story grow. So there
Absolutely.
are, yeah. So one takes that point, but then what about interest rates? What about the possibility that we are likely to see inflation go up as well? Do you think that is a likelihood we have to be guarded against?
No, definitely we will see some amount of an uptick in inflation. There's no doubt about it. At this point in time, as Ajay ji said, the rates have been held for some time. Maybe even in the next meeting, the rates will be held, and we won't see much of a change. But at this point in time, the reason the inflation has been much more steady this year as compared to last year, if you remember, Vikram, we had this discussion last year as well. Last year, it was really related to the monsoon, and the fact that the monsoon was so unstable and unpredictable. This year we've had a good monsoon. We've had some predictability even in the food prices, and food inflation being steady has actually held a lot of the retail inflation and wholesale inflation steady as well. Also, oil prices have been managed much better this year as compared to last year, and we're seeing those impacts come in, into the overall inflationary picture.
Right.
So I'm not so worried about inflation. I am, however, worried about the medium, the long-term outlook, and the fact that we sustain this growth only when we invest in infrastructure.
Also, very importantly, Ashish Shukla, perhaps you can tell us, because geographically also, you need to see consumption grow across the country. How are you seeing that kind of growth? When it comes to cars, for sure, but when you talk about the entire economy, the entire piece needs to, the urban story has moved up, but the rural story perhaps is taking its time. But is Diwali different this time around for you?
Yes, if we see definitely the rural demand is definitely boost up with agriculture income growth and government initiatives. Rural India has been increased purchasing power. Rural buyers are becoming a key driver of automobile demand, particularly for the entry level cars and two wheelers. If we see for the GST cut, it's almost 13 to 15% the price has been reduced, and for that price the smaller segment of the cars has been increased, like drastically they have been increased.
So, I mean, if you're going to see all of this taking place, the importance of the difference between online and offline, and Praveenji, you tell us, because now these e-commerce platforms, they are going to talk about record sales, and already we are hearing about that as well. 24% up this season. How much of that is coming at the expense of offline retail margins right now?
Vikram, first of all, I would like to correct you. It is not offline, it is mainline.
All right.
So it is mainline, not offline, and the tremendous unprecedented rush in the markets now is converting into a new story. And if you go to the figures, which we are going to get you within a couple of days, particularly festival season, there is a decline in the online sales, because now the consumer is more interested to get back to touch and feeling. So therefore, the government is also implementing certain policies to make the online story very transparent, which is not there as of now. So therefore, in all circumstances, the mainline will be the mainline, and online will be a choice for the people of higher strata, whereas the middle class is certainly going to depend on the mainline business, and that will be the real growth story of Indian economy.
Well, India's consumption story is clearly very, very alive. It seems to be shining brighter than ever this festive season. You're seeing these bustling bazaars. You're seeing booming e-commerce from car showrooms to gold counters. The spirit of spending is reflecting not just sentiment, but there is confidence among consumers in the economic momentum that India is offering right now. And in India's appetite for aspiration, That is clearly shining bright, and that in itself is a strong signal of the resilience of our domestic economy. I want to thank our guests for joining us this evening. Praveen Khandelwal, thank you. And of course, Mr. Shukla, Mithali Nikore, Ajay Bagga. We hope you have an excellent Diwali. Thank you for making the time on such a momentous time of the year, such an incredible spirit of Diwali that we are celebrating. Thank you so much for joining us. And indeed, our viewers, this is a spectacular time. Yes, indeed, sales are going up in a dramatic way. How much of that confidence is going to sustain? From everything that we've heard tonight, it seems like this story is only going to grow in times to come. The consumption story that India has to offer is going to be a great draw to watch out for. We've pushed on the supply side, and now the consumption story is taking a form of its own. We're going to keep at it. We are going to keep watching the space grow. But for the moment, from me, Vikramosa, and the entire team, we wish you all a sparkling Diwali. Have a great time with family. Keep it safe and have a wonderful, wonderful Diwali. Bye-bye.